Recently, I did something that I haven't done in a long time. I know I'm kind of rare about this, but I actually visited a bookstore. As I've said before, I tend to read most of my books via Kindle or books from the library. So I went to this bookstore, which, by the way, it's going to remain nameless. I'm not even going to tell you what city I was in. I was traveling at the time. And I had some interesting experiences that I want to share with you. See if you have the same experience that I've had. We've heard for a long time that bookstores are disappearing. I looked it up. According to the U.S. Census back in 2020, there were just under 11,000 bookstores. Barnes and Noble has 627 locations around the country. And they clocked in with almost $4 billion a year. So, yeah, big box bookstores have closed, but they're still doing pretty well. And I often think that the closing of the big box bookstores helps the independent bookstores. And I should say that I've probably been into more independent, what I call mom and pop bookstores in recent years than I have, a Barnes and Noble or something that big. But this was a big box bookstore. And my experience was, well, yeah, there's a lot of books, but there were also a whole lot of other things. It kind of reminded me a bit like I was at a gift shop in an airport. They had a lot of books, but, they had all sorts of other things. Yes, they had the coffee shop in the corner, but, they had toys for kids. Of course, they had notebooks. They had all sorts of other things. But the other thing is, there were fewer staff than I remember. Maybe they were too busy selling coffee. I'm not sure. They did have a whole bunch of workers at the checkout counters, but when I had a question about a book, it was really hard to find someone. And that's where I think smaller mom and pop bookstores have it over the big box stores. I was just looking for a suggestion on what I should read, and I'd hope to be able to tell someone like, okay, here's what I like. Can you help me find something? And I went over to the help desk, the kiosk where they have the computer and they can look things up for you. There was nobody there. And I kind of walked through the aisles, didn't encounter anyone, which really disappointed me because I know that there's a small independent bookstore not far from where I live, and every time I've gone in there, I'm quickly engaging in a conversation with someone there, and sometimes they just start offering suggestions even when I haven't asked for it. They'll see a book that I'm holding in their hand. They'll say, "Hey, have you read this?" Man, I really love that, and a lot of the independent bookstores that I've been in have a lot less clutter. Uh, I actually, some time ago, I talked to a bookstore owner. This was, again, of a small bookstore. And he said he really likes the fact that he can control what books he stocks and even how he displays them. Because sometimes publishers sponsor placements in a lot of the bookstores and especially in the big box stores. But I guess even some of the independent stores, he doesn't do that. He says he likes to control what his customers see. He admitted he doesn't have a lot of technical guides and textbooks because he said people buy those on Amazon. They buy them online. So he doesn't see the need to do that. And in fact, he told me he encourages browsers. He really likes people who spend a lot of time in his store, and his staff loves to answer questions because they're reading fanatics as well. Um, it was fun in the big box. I mean, I enjoyed the display. I looked at a lot of books. I didn't end up buying any though. Um, Even though I can usually buy a book cheaper for my Kindle, if I'm looking for recommendations or ideas for what I want to read, I'm going to go to the independent bookstore every time. I didn't get that same welcoming feeling at the big box store. What do you think? Do you shop at the big box stores? Do you like the independent bookstores? When do you go to one? When do you go to the other? I'd be interested in what you think. Just leave a comment below. And oh, by the way, have you subscribed? I really would appreciate it. It's encouragement for me to keep these videos going forward. Thanks.